Keep a fire burning red in a Joshua representing of a comes hard here. You know. Big up Kidaki, Buxton Massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like you know, like come son. Red.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money, never, money, never, money, never, money, never, money, money, I know what you conniving, money, money, never, money, never, money, money, never, money, money, you can keep your conniving, money. When you've been knocked for a bum, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, never, money, never, money, money, never, money, money, now know what you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk. Money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. I know what you can I be money. Oh, Joseph.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Comes TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which Jah has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. politics. You are a part of the cycle. I say, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, they got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam, Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London, Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews, big up Paslow, Port People Governor, Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson, Hampton Green and Winston Jordan, and yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese morning time, the people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Quinlan Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice. And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North.
Comes audio son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes, I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more. program. Who are the girls them got them iPhone? Y'all know this, huh? Who have a program? Morning, neighbor, morning. Are you morning, morning? Are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 7 hours 32 on the 18th, 19th day. That is on the 19th day of July in the year 2024. How you been? How was your last night? How you doing this morning? What happened yesterday that made a difference in your life? What happened yesterday that gave you hope? Because you could live in hope or you could die in despair. Which one you want? Morning, are you? What a go on? Shout out to all the birthday people. I don't want to miss that today. If you celebrated a birthday yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and in the new week and so on, over the weekend, happy birthday to you. I wish you all the best. I'm still celebrating. And nobody's going to steal that joy from me. Good? I hope you're all having a good time. I intend to have a good time this morning. There's so many things to talk about this morning. I don't know where to start. But y'all could start with Vincent Jordan's program from yesterday. Well, you just listened to the rebroadcast and you must have heard a large part of it. I know some of you wanted to comment yesterday because people were calling me offline and messaging me and so on. So we can start by talking about that. Some of the revelations from Mr. Jordan yesterday, or some of the education from Mr. Jordan yesterday. So should I open up the lines now? Yes, the lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. And while we await your calls, because it's Friday, number I say, you don't run on water. I looking fit. I got eat the food. Y'all remember all those things? Yes. I'm thinking about joining the joint services. Joint services. Have you ever heard the joke of the Rasta man that went to the bank and say, I come to open a joint account? And once he said he come to open a joint account, the teller processed the information and then she asked him, well, where's the amount you deposited? And he take out a couple kilos of weed, put it on the counter. Boys, it's illegal. We don't deal with weed. I say, oh, you don't deal with weed, sister. It's not joint to counter, and I tell the sister that I come for. There is not joint to count. So some people take things literally, right? Not every joint you talk about is partnership. Not every joint you talk about is partnership. The joint services have been living up to their names, I dare say, of being joint services. They're dealing with a lot of joints. You know, for quite a while, I've been saying to you folks, there are lots of people responsible for controlling major crime in this country, that they themselves are involved in major crimes. You know, the US has pulled in some of them for questioning and so on. So there's no question about that, whether or not they're involved in major crimes. Y'all want me to tell you what's my theory with the recent arms and ammunition find? Y'all want to know what's my theory? I think one of them big shot police just give up one of the blocks. Because I'm of the firm belief that while there's a large cache of arms and ammunition, those things were intended to protect the turf. I think the main meat of the matter there is the narcotics, the illicit drugs that were found. in that suitcase or wherever they found it. The arms and ammunition is just a protection, just to protect the turf and so on. And so since the police is the source of focus right now, I just believe that someone of them big boys who controlling the block decide, hey, let me take some of the heat off of we, man. Let me just find this suitcase. Right? And so we're looking for two suspects, yet unknown, yet unnamed. But we're looking for two suspects. Right? My intention this morning, like I said yesterday, was to discuss the failure of the Fourth Estate or the complicity of the Fourth Estate. And maybe I'll take some time and we'll talk about that quickly. But the lines are still open. Call your life.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki. Minister Jordan brought out a set of valuable points, and I'm glad that he's back, that he could let us know more in the economical realm. But there are certain things, they would always talk down the coalition. But in this country, there is no form of public transport, government transport for the people. And because of that, the people now are at the wrath and the vengeance of who are providing transportation for them. But we can't blame much, because we had government boats across the rivers and so. And eventually the speedboats came and rivaled the government boats. People forget the government boats and so those things were being taken off. And now we are feeling the wrath because we don't have public transportation. Take, for instance, the minibuses on the road. When ABNU brought in, got those buses as gifts and put it into the public domain to transport children, it was a problem. And I feel, coming into power, we should endeavor to have public transport. The government must be responsible for transport. And once the government could come in and be responsible, I think we as commuters would have a better way of transportation. I hope the Minibus Association could listen and take up the act if they got to revise a new fare structure. Let them come and revise it. Don't leave it at the whims of the minibus. But traveling to town to work on Tuesday to protest, I was in a minibus and the driver didn't talking to me, I was talking to the next person. And he claimed that the minibuses are at a disadvantage because they got the top buses who funding the police. So when the top buses put 4 and 5 in the bar and the pass, the police wouldn't upset them because at the ending of the week, they take their monies and they give it to the police. So the police end up on the road now collecting bribes every day. But these buses got a contract with them when they will meet them and they spend their spoils with them. So those buses, they don't join the line, they don't do anything. And it's thing. Then they said that they got to return to having conductors on the buses. The driver said, having the conductor, when you got to wait 4 and 5 hours in the line, what really you're paying the conductor with? What you paying yourself with? And what you paying your installment with? So this thing here is a wheel in a wheel. And the other things, the biggest thing, but next thing is the flooding of Guyana. The heads must remember that Guyana is below sea level, certain parts, the coastal belts. And if you allow people to build across the entire bit of the land, if you got the 50 feet land and you cover the whole land with concrete to make one continuous thing across the trench, what can go and clean out under the bridge? Eventually the bridge gonna block up, and when the bridge block up, the place blocking up. When you travel to Vidanu, You see that confusion. You see it in around coming down for the west on the west coast. People building bridges all over, even at the inside the villages. When they build these big bridges and put a pipe tube in, and they throw in couple water bottle, what's going on? And I think that this country should have a law that you could only build the widest bridge you must build, not a culvert, must be like 12 feet. So that the people who got to clean the trenches, whether it's excavator or what, have access to cleaning the trenches. And in so doing, you would be able to minimize flooding in the country. But that, I don't know when they are going to think. Guyana is a lawless country, and nobody is living to the laws, because you're supposed to got certain laws are fixed to places that you could have a free run of water. When you go to Georgia, you announce a place. I know the place. All the drains, and they're trying to make 1 foot drain with the drain. Those drains cannot drain Guyana. When the Dutch inhabited this country, the Dutch made drawings. They had slaves digging proper canals, they call them canals, big trenches, irrigation, to drain the land. Don't mind the use of flood out the African fields, but there was drainage. But now all of that is gone, because on embankments where you got to run your excavator, your cleaning device as excavators, and so all those lands in certain places, people take it over. It has been regularized, and those people are not being moved. But when Africans go to places, open areas, and take it up and say, we're going to use it for housing, there is where the install regime going and breaking down. But a place like between Mary and Rumsek on the West Coast, there was a thoroughfare that you could use to clean the trench. Well, that has become a thriving city, and nobody going to remove them. Vehicles driving straight in the house, still nobody going to remove them, because you know what? They're flying the PPP flag, and they voted for the PPP back.
Thank you for that call. I got some people to address. Let me start with Kemraj Harina Ryan. Only lazy people complain about cost of living. Kemraj Narayan, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. Hardworking people complain about cost of living. Lazy people sit in the PPP government, so they don't have to complain about cost of living. They suck the blood out of this economy. The hardworking people are the teachers and public servants. And of course, private sector employees and so on. Not the PPP politicians who are sitting up there. They are so lazy, they are intellectually lazy, that they cannot even think of proper policies that will alleviate the sufferings of the Guyanese people. Those are the lazy people. They are not complaining about cost of living. Because as all the revelations have shown, they are stealing the nation's wealth. Like you, Kemraj, I rather suspect you got big friends and so on who the thief from government and do insider trading and so on, and maybe you benefit from 1 and 2 contracts and so on, so you feel that you're on top of the world. You could call people lazy. Leave us to our lazy selves. Get out of here. Just go. As I'm talking about laziness and public service and hard work, I was talking about joint account. I mean, it might have sounded satirical, it might have sounded like a joke. But I want you all to take a moment and look around you, examine the news, and understand what this PPP has done to the Guyanese society. I read an article some weeks ago, well, not weeks ago, days ago, detailing how gold is smuggled out of this country, how quote-unquote tainted gold is mixed with Guyanese gold and all of that, and smuggled. The article lists a number of people involved in the smuggling. But one of the things it pointed out was that in Venezuela, at least on the border, or in the border regions, it is military men and women who control the gold business. They're the mafias. You can't mine gold without their permission. They would murder you. If you're mining gold for you and them. You know the state of Venezuela right now. Many people argue that Venezuela is a failed state. And so it wouldn't be surprising that the military members of the Venezuelan government, Venezuelan society, whatever, are allegedly involved in such criminality. Take that and hop across to Guyana, and you will see that not so long ago, policemen were accused of escorting thieves to a Chinese businessman's place. I don't know if you remember that. It is alleged that policemen were involved in robbing a depositor, or was he withdrawing or deposit? A banker, let me say that. A client of the bank at the Seawall. Millions of dollars. It is alleged that policemen were the ones involved. Not so long ago, policemen were found transporting weed, joint, weed, marijuana, marijuana, right? A senior policeman is now on leave. Pending the launch of or completion of an investigation into financial impropriety. These are, what we call them, law enforcement representatives. These are the people who are supposed to maintain law and order in the state. But if you think that's bad, yesterday the news broke that 2 members of the Guyana Defense Force, the GDF, were caught transporting hundreds of pounds of marijuana in the official vehicle of the Guyana Defense Force. In an official vehicle of the Guyana Defense Force, 2 senior non-commissioned officers were caught transporting hundreds of pounds of marijuana. Look around the world and you will see the kind of countries where the military and the police are involved in the kind of crimes that we are hearing about in this country involving police and military men and women. For the most part, you find that happening in countries that have failed states, dictatorships, decriminalized states. That's where you find it happening. And so if any of you representing the PPP this morning, looking for evidence that the PPP is nothing but an aider and abettor of crime in this country, you have it right before your eyes. But hear me, worse than aiding and abetting crime, the PPP is guilty of forcing Guyanese citizens to commit crimes for their survival. When you have I will say an economic dunce, but the question is whether or not it is truly an economic dunce. Hosting a press conference to respond or defend this government against the cries of the poor people for the high cost of living. With all of the resources we have, the only thing you can conclude is that these people expect you to beg, borrow, or thief to survive. They are already stealing the cream of the crop. And so since they are stealing the cream of the crop and are covetous as they are, bad-minded as they are, wicked as they are, vindictive as they are, and refusing to give public servants livable wages, the only thing they are leaving them to do and forcing them to do is create crime and get involved in corruption. When the teachers were on strike, I remember reading of 2 cases at least where teachers were accused of selling marijuana. They were caught, according to news reports, in homes or at places where marijuana was being traded. Teachers are supposed to be the molders of our nation, but you give them chicken feed money, you pay them peanuts, you're going to get monkey business. They are human beings. And they are faced with the hardships of this high cost of living. And if you continue to pay them starvation wages, they will do whatever they need to do to get by. The Guyana Police Force, the Guyana Defense Force, these recent revelations, and it has been known, but these recent revelations have just added to the evidence that 1 month bonus at the end of the year doesn't cut it. 1 month bonus at the end of the year cannot sustain our servicemen and women throughout the year. And we have been making that argument all the time. The PPP has been competing military servicemen and women and tell them the coalition didn't like y'all. They take away your 1 month bonus. And we're going to give you back your 1 month bonus. But what the coalition did was to give the servicemen and women and public servants increases in wages and salaries that made a difference in their lives all year round. Because it is an increase that they continue to enjoy from month to month to month all year round. But when you're saying to your public servants and your servicemen and women, you all got to wait until December to eat a proper meal or to provide something proper for your family, what happens to them for the rest of the year, 11 months of the year? You're also saying to them, y'all got to make bread out of stone for the rest of the 11 months of the year. Well, they're making bread out of stone. They are couriers. They are dons. They are kingpins in the drug trade. And the PPP is responsible for that. The PPP is responsible for that. The PPP, every time the PPP has been in office, Guyanese have had to face a criminalized state. Every time the PPP is in office, the state becomes more and more criminalized. Criminality becomes more entrenched in the state. For real, if the people get more money, the price on goods will increase. You can't win in the rat race. Go back and listen to Winston Jordan yesterday and today. Play it as long as you need to play to understand it. You know what I'm saying? These things have long-reaching effect. These things have long-reaching effect. Let me take you to the austerity measures in the 80s. A lot of people will be displeased that I go there. But in the 80s, under Forbes Bonham government, when the US and their friends were squeezing the lifeblood out of Forbes Bonham government, and things were really bad, there were allegations that servicemen and women were kicked down the door bandits. As a matter of fact, not so long ago, during the 2020 elections campaign, the Barlet tyrant, that recording is somewhere. If I look for it, I will find it. Said that you have vote for the coalition. Vote for the PNC, as he likes to say. And the soldier, they're going to come and kick down your door and rob you and rape your children, etc. The coalition is not in office. PNC is not in office. Bonham is dead and buried. Military, joint services members are dealing in drugs. They are dealing in extortion. And God knows what else they are dealing in. The PPP, therefore, has taken us several years and several stages and several steps backwards. In 2024, when we are an oil-producing nation, we are earning billions, hundreds of billions of dollars from the petroleum industry. Our servicemen and women, our public servants, are earning next to nothing. Next to nothing. Just a little over or under $500 a month. And so they got to eat the food. They got to make a bread. And in order that they could eat the food and make a bread and survive and live an apparent quality of life that is in keeping with their quote unquote status in the civil or public service. They have to do things which ordinarily they ought not to be doing, like collecting a bribe, left or right, like asking for lunch money. Like engaging in extortion. That is what our public servants are made to do under PPP government. For the simple fact that the PPP government refuses to pay public servants a livable wage. The PPP government refuses to uphold law and order, because if they uphold law and order, a lot of them will be seen in orange jumpsuits. And so what we're getting on a daily basis, a daily dose of degradation, I don't see it getting better. I don't anticipate it will get better for as long as the PPP sits in office. And the ultimate question is, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? What will we do about it? This is what the PPP is concerned about. As they say, you hear it from the horse's mouth. This is one of the horses of the PPP, telling you what the PPP is concerned about. This is an article entitled "What's Going On?" from the Guyana Times. You know who writes in the Guyana Times and so on. I'm going to jump to a section that says, Guyana in 2025. And that paragraph starts, so, what makes the PPP so confident? Well, let's count the ways. By then, even if the bridge across the Demerara River incomplete, it will be so advanced that those 60,000 voters from Region 3 would be so pleased they will place those X's next to that cup. And let's not forget the oil and gas power plants and manufacturing plants in Wales. Jobs, baby, jobs. Over in Berbice, there's gonna be that stadium, hotel, and the 21st century landscape to catapult the ancient county into the future. Rosal Estate will certainly be grinding by then. Meanwhile, hopping over to the Cinderella County, billions and billions are being spent to develop the agricultural base that's been their mainstay. And so, truth be told, the PPP just needs a small piece of the PNC's base to switch. They already have the Amerindian votes sewed up with all the funding for developing the hinterland communities that they look like the Cheshire cat. Any vote from the PNC base is just show up. Are you understanding what the PPP is concerned about? Region 3, Region 5, Region 6, Region 2, and the Amerindian communities. As long as they can get them the way they want them, they don't care about addressing national issues. That's how I see it. They don't care about addressing wages and salaries for public servants. What are you going to do about it? Because here we are. When the policemen can do corruption and business as police in Ivlery and the police stations, they gotta find some place to do it. They gotta find some victim or other. When the soldiers can't be mules to the drug trade, they gotta find some ways and means of supplementing the starvation wages. And whether you like it or not, you or somebody close to you might become the next victim in a criminalized state. I'm sure you know and I know that there are many respectable people in these professions. People who care about their professions. But likewise, there are many who are desperate, especially those at the low ranks. Do you recognize the rank of the officers, the members of the Guyanese Defense Force who were caught transporting marijuana in the forces vehicle, the Defense Forces vehicle? One is a staff sergeant, and the other is a sergeant. May I ask you a question? How long does it take to become a sergeant in the Guyanese Defense Force? How much dedication does it take to stick with it to become a sergeant in the Guyanese Defense Force? You go in as a private. You have to work your way from private to lance corporal to corporal. Corporal is acting sergeant, I think, and then to sergeant. After sergeant, you become an acting staff sergeant, I think, and then a staff sergeant. It takes years. It takes years to dedicate yourself to what you're doing to attain the rank of a sergeant or staff sergeant. And so one must ask his or herself, who, having invested so many years of their lives to attain the rank of sergeant or staff sergeant, would just throw it away willy-nilly by being a drug mule? Who? I would say a desperate person. I will say a desperate person. And I will posit that the BPP has forced Guyanese, not only the ordinary Guyanese citizens, the working class Guyanese citizens, the professional Guyanese citizens, to desperation. And we are seeing the fruits of that desperation daily. Are you going to make them cause them to cause you, all of you, all of us, to become desperate people, to do desperate things and throw our lives away? Or are we going to take the necessary steps to get rid of this corrupt and criminal cabal that is forcing all of us to desperation? I see somebody say they will say a fool will do that. Sean James said he would say a fool. Sean James, like they say, you have to walk a mile in my shoe to know where it pains. You have to be in the house to know where it leaks. I don't know you. I don't want to assume, therefore, that you are sitting comfortably at your master's table, where even the crumb is better than what the public servants are getting. I don't want to see that. But Butcher Banton said it. Circumstances make me what I am. And he asked the question, was I born a violent man? Circumstances make me what I am. Are you saying to me that the men and women in the public service, men and women of the joint services, enlisted? I see somebody saying our son will retire as a sergeant in the GDF and he has 20 years of service. Enlisted in the Guyanese Defense Force 20 years ago to traffic weed or to engage in corruption. Are you saying that is why those individuals enlisted in the Guyanese Defense Force? I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. And so to say that they're foolish, or to say they're criminals at heart, and all of that, I'm saying it's simplistic. I think that is simplistic. We have to look at the root cause of the kind of behaviors we are having in this society. And I'm positing that the root cause originates in Freedom House. Because of the PPP in government, that civilians can traverse the road up and down, blaring sirens. You know what that means? The man could be moving drugs. They could be moving drugs. They could be moving guns. They could be moving all kinds of illicit things. Blaring siren. Because what is the SOP in this country? When the police hear a siren, they generally step aside and let it pass. It is the PPP which permits that. Call your life.
Yes, good morning to you and all my other African brothers and sisters in Guyana. Well. What I have to say this morning, that is old news. That be happening for years. He don't make him money, so he don't care if he give up 20 years or 15 years. That's why when I call on his choices them to take over the country and stop the brutality of the citizens in the country and what the government is doing to poor people in Guyana. One brother jumped up and said, hey, Flash Garden, Coach Marshall. But today, listening from your program, what you're doing, if that is more better than rescue his own citizen when I'm paying his check, taxpayers' money. One brother said, oh, Flash Garden, they don't have the keys, but they get the vehicle keys to do criminal activities. Flash Garden said, make a key, find a key, bust that safe down, and take out ammunition and overthrow the government. That is part of them duty.
Flash Garden.
Yes, talk to me.
Like I ain't got enough problems, man. Yeah.
Pardon me?
I said like I ain't got enough problems. Why you gonna call this program and say overthrow the government? Listen, you have freedom of speech, but just be responsible. I ain't able with no more shit. I'll be in the court Tuesday morning on the 23rd for a statement that somebody made. And I disagreed with. Y'all don't take your liberty to affect my liberty. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki, and the listening viewers, the people in the diaspora and around the world. This program is so important. When I listen to Mr. Jordan with these details, it really jaw-dropping to know that this big fool that they call Jack Dio that sits every Thursday and try to got Guyanese in that foolish bubble that he always talk about. We really behind time. And to crown it off, I listen to a program with Greg Glenlal, the guy from Kaicho, that tells you the kind of money that this country earned per day, how much million US per day, where all this money going? Where all this money going? It's time Guyanese stand up and demand a better life. And that is why I always said we missed an opportunity, because when the teacher they strike, right there and then the whole country should have chipped in to have a better life under this so-called regime that thieving out the money. It's real sad that look our population, it isn't much, just under 1 million, and look how we suffering. But God don't sleep. I mean, some people say everything I look calling God, God, God. We gotta stand up for we rights. You have a blessed day and continue this program. It's so important to us.
All your life.
Morning, Buddy Kadaki. From my point of view and my political point of view, Guyana is in a real mess. Mess in all forms. Social, cultural, political, spiritual, economic. And we need someone to come out and address this nation and actually guide this nation. And the person who I would choose for this task is no other but former President Granger to come out and address the political turmoil in this country. The PNC, the AFC, the PPP, all of them need to be addressed. And I would like to call on citizens to call on Mr. Granger to come out and make open statements of what we should do and courses that we should take for the betterment of this country, like how he had started. But start to say that he didn't get the time to prolong his program because in 3.5 years it was in his back. So, in closing, I would like if Mr. Granger could come on the air, come on your program, and address the situation in this country. Thank you, Brother Galati.
Thank you for your call. Now, Starbuck News is reporting that Darul Ulum Masjid Imam has been refused entry to the US and his visa revoked. Early in the week, Travis Chase reported that an imam, remember I asked the question, who is this imam? Because we didn't know who the imam was refused entry to the US and his visa revoked. Well, so we're saying now it's Imam Badruddin Khan who heads the East Street Darul Ulum Masjid. According to Starbuck News, the reason for Khan's visa revocation is unclear, as he had been in the United States in March of this year during Ramadan. My information suggests, it is alleged, let me see, that the East Street Masjid is connected to the people who have recently been sanctioned. And so the sanctioning of this imam is just a continuation of the sanctions against certain people in this country who have recently been sanctioned by the US. Read between the lines, don't always read in the line. I hope you all are bright enough, and I know you are bright enough. Call your life.
Yes, Mr. Amsterdam.
Hold for me, caller.
Good morning.
Sorry. You see, we gotta be very, I have to be very careful now because, like I say, even when you contribute to the Cash App or you contribute to the Zelle, I don't have enough money to deal with lawsuits. It's been reported that the Guyanese critic, the famous low-life utterer, is now faced with paying the Mohammeds $52 million as awarded by the court. 52 million. But I don't see 52,000 sometimes. Where I getting 52 million from? I ain't able to people name. You got between the lines. Call it life.
Yes, Mr. Amsterdam, and thank you for that clarity. Sometimes we need to appreciate, while we do free speech, we need to balance it out. I can understand that. Yes. Look, you just mentioned read between the lines and what's happening there. I wonder how many banks are controlled by Christians in Guyana. I wonder how many Christian-centered banks are in Guyana. Likewise, I wonder how many Hindu banks, Amerindian banks are in Guyana. As, you know, controlled by a religiosity. So when it's been alleged that possibility that Muslim financial institutions are happening in Guyana, it makes us really question: are people using the church? Are people using the mosque to do fiduciary matters, to do financial transactions? I mean, I'm just wondering. Look, I wanted to talk about the PNCs and the coalitions from Norton's plan for Guyana. It's Free Talk Friday, and we got a lot of different things, people talking different things, so I suggest we talk about something that we've been asking for. Now, candidate Norton, or Aubrey Norton, the leader of the opposition in Parliament, has proposed on his manifesto for presidency. He says if ACNU gets in office, they will provide $5 billion in soft loans for small businesses. $5 billion. So small businesses got to do with a black pudding lady or a chicken farm, a bus, starting the market. That's small business. a person selling bread on the malls in the market. Those are small businesses. $5 billion. Then he also said that there's going to be free education to university. So they're actually bringing back free education. So I guess you could become a doctor once you get 10, 15 CXCs. You could get it. You could go to Cuba and become a doctor. You could become a lawyer. You could become a computer engineer, free of charge. You see? So that's all that's money. In the United States, there's a program called the welfare program, where they give money to women and men, but mostly women and their children, because hard times hit everyone in society. And when hard times hit, or people who are suffering some sort of hardships, they need a monthly income. And so Cromwell Norton, as the leader of the PNC and the leader of the opposition currently in Parliament, is proposing a monthly income, very similar to what the Buxton proposal has offered, $5 million US.
5,000
So
US.
there's a
5,000.
Yes. Thank you very much. Got the millions floating around in my head. Thank you for the clarity. The Buxton proposal offered 5,000 US. And I think that's a one-time shot. That's a good amount of money to put anybody on their feet. The PNC is offering, under Cromwell Norton's leadership, a monthly income for women and their children, our families, on a sliding scale. And a sliding scale means what? That according to your needs. Good. So that's a way for children to be able to get nourishment, proper medication, transportation to school, proper housing. There's also a statement on a manifesto. He says, you're going to raise pensions and going to raise salaries. So that means the 6.5 issue, we could be dealing with that on a level that makes up for inflation. Pensions are going to go up, just like President Granger had raised pensions and salaries when he came in. So immediately, everybody's salary just about goes up. Standard of living goes up. And there are a few more other points that are mentioned there. Look, we've got to look at how Cromwell Norton's candidacy will bring benefit when we vote for him, when we vote for the party, when we vote for the coalition together. And that's a good thing. We need to start getting the message out there. If we're going to go to elections, we need to start getting the message that the Buxton proposal is offering $5,000 US. We need to start getting that message out there, getting it around in the diaspora. That the team that is being put together could bring these things and does intend to bring these things to us. While we're talking about biometrics, I think it's possible that we could arrive back at the 2020 crisis. So I think it's only right that party leaderships combined, APNU as a whole, takes the issue to the courts and say, look, persons' identity have been stolen fraudulently, and there's a major issue of impersonation. That's theft. And while GCOM may be hesitant to deal with biometrics, we can find another way to deal with it. If you can't go through the back door, come through the roof. That's what I'm saying. And it's still legal, and it's still addressing fraud, impersonation. The whole purpose of biometrics is to get rid of what? Impersonation. If I'm wrong, I could be corrected. So if they don't want to do biometrics up front, or if they don't want to fix the list, then we go another way. We deal with it based upon the laws which are already on the book. There's a law against theft. There's a law against impersonation of other human beings. So we take it that route. That's a winnable case. So for persons who are looking to do something, such as Royce Dilford and the Mans, the two lawyers, and Darren Wade, well, here is a good chance to prove yourself and be on the team and take this case to the court. Of course, you have to work with Conrad Norton because he's the leader. All right? So these are things which need to be dealt with, unless we're going to wait for it to happen, because I saw Vincent Alexander, a very intelligent brother. I saw him speaking in Politics 101 about this issue of biometrics. And I'm wondering to myself, why aren't we articulating a case before the court? Now, lastly, in clarity, I am saying that criminality, theft against identity, is already a crime on the books. So we don't have to search for any other laws or any other reforms at this point. We can use what's on the book to address the biometrics issue by another way. And we should do that quickly as possible, unless we see some other reasons not to. Once again, thank you for accepting my call, Mr. Amsterdam, and you have a great weekend.
I'll give you a call. The lines are open. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. The Buxtonian. Circumstances make me what I am. Call it live.
Morning to that. Mr. Jordan touched on something which was very important yesterday. Something I will always call it for. That the opposition takes too long to respond to PPP propaganda. As I said, always say that the party should always have a PR side, active PR. And as I said, Bigfoot work is good to run in the propaganda section, right, of our party. But John knew that they're going to come on the press conference on Thursday. Like Thursday night, we should have somebody rebucking and showing John you like out the window. But we allow him to go on and run on. And you know what a lot of people think? Don't worry, them people are stupid. The people ain't got no sense. But me and you know that people lie when they lie. We allow them to tell this kind of propaganda, which George is not supposed to say it goes to show that they have been lying about it. But after that, somebody can do it's 15 more now. I never do that. We had an opportunity yesterday. Right or not, George, you should do it. Okay, you're right, that's the right, it's the right. But we allow people to say, oh, and we read the whole thing, that's right. What kind of nonsense is that? The next thing is we go listen to Jackie press conference. You should listen to the line. So you have to put the voice of the book and show his line. Always, the man always breaking the fact checking machine. Always breaking the fact checking machine. He's a liar. If we allow him lies, so it's time the opposition call and start rebutting and repeating this man lie. They've done every time he was looking out, it's going to get to reach down. Every time one of them will go out, down. We can't work. You know, I don't know, just 9 to 3 hours environment here, it's going to work from 9 to 9 to 10 of them. If it doesn't see you, Mr. Short, a lot of things put down. And Dr. Heinz,
Thank you, caller.
Tom, is there any remorse within your heart for those people you've dealt in the past? Those who came across your path, their life they've lost. Sure, are you blind? Say, circumstances made me what I am. Was I born a violent man? Circumstances made me what I am. Everyone should understand. Circumstances made me what I am. Was I born a violent man? Circumstances made me what I am.
Hello, hi. Good morning, good morning, good morning, dog. Morning, are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. If you can hear me loud and clear, give me a thumbs up. That's all I'm asking for starters. If you can hear me loud and clear, give me a thumbs up. Welcome to the program. It is 7 hours 27 on the 22nd day of July in the year 2024. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. This is the Guyanese Morning Time. It is still July, so it is still my birth month. I'm still celebrating. I'm still in that mood. What mood are you in this morning? How was your last night? How was your weekend? How was your yesterday? How you wake up feeling this morning? You wake up on the right side of the bed? Did you use that skill to make some extra, earn some extra income yesterday or over the weekend? What did you do? That's what I'm interested in. I'm always interested about your well-being. How are you keeping? Kindly share the live. This morning, I want us to talk to 50 million people. Please share the live. Please share the live. 50 million is the number this morning. I want us to talk to 50 million people, so share the live. In the meantime, I'm going to play some drums while waiting on you to share the live. It's coming on to the 31st of July. I can imagine my ancestors around this time, they were very anxious. Because in another week or so, the emancipation proclamation would have had to take place. Because by this time, they would have already known that on the 1st of August, 1824, they would have regained their freedom. They would no longer be enslaved Africans, because they would have fought that long and hard battle. And Massa had to come to the point of realizing we can't hold them much longer. We gotta give them the freedom. We have to return their freedom. Yeah, so having heard of the Emancipation Proclamation, what, 4 years prior, 5 years prior, I'm sure they were counting the days and the nights. And so in this penultimate week, they must have been very anxious, and they were already planning in their minds and in their heads how we throw this monkey off the back and what we will do when we get out there as freed African transporters. Yeah. And in this week that we are leading up to month end, that we like to say the end of July, I'm usually very anxious. I'm usually very anxious. Usually perhaps my proudest, because my ancestors did it. They made the sacrifices to ensure that my predecessors were not born into slavery. And so that I was not born into slavery. And I've made that determination. I will do all that is humanly possible, even laying my life down, my generation are not born into slavery, what will you do? Have you made that determination? Or are you more concerned about life and the quality of life for yourself in the next generations? I'm concerned about the quality of life. And that is why every morning, week where you're tired, I present myself here to add to the process of emancipation. Share the life, please and thank you. That's the least we can do this morning. Share the life. I don't see a lot of shares. I'm still waiting. 500,000 of you on this live and we ain't get 250,000 share yet. So we all doing. Share the life. It's Monday morning. They say Mondays are made for champions. Come on, share the life. That's all I'm asking. Usabe tambe mitambewa. Usabe tambe mitambewa. Usabe tambe mitambewa. Blessings to our sister Shelly Douglas. Shelly, I wish you a speedy recovery, girl. Make case recover and come to Box Salary Dance till come. I don't think y'all doing well enough in terms of this share thing, but I ain't gonna sit down and wait whole morning and wait for y'all share. Y'all know me. That's why I just gotta tell y'all plain as shit. This dependency thing, I don't able with. I don't able depend on nobody for not even a share. For 3 years, I ain't asked nobody for share nothing. No, I come and ask y'all for share y'all beating styles. You know, I'm gonna tell y'all how I stay. I don't like people beat styles for me at all. It's my board month, so y'all still getting to know me. Oh yeah, this is how I stay. Mr. Barney, if I pull up on you, like I say, you know, you're looking good. Ting. As that man say, if I sue you, if I hustle you and ting. I only hustle adults. So if I hustle and I recognize you're playing the childish game, I gone. I ain't got time for that. That is waste time. I don't have time for that. Hear them now. But Mr. Amsterdam, you married is why you talking about them things. I'm reflecting on when I was a wasser. Well, I don't. Yeah, I've always been like that. I don't like people beat styles on me. Some people might say I don't like rejection. But I'm the kind of person who sit back and I make a good assessment and then I decide whether it's worth my time or not. Right? I don't waste time. I ain't got the time. As I usually say, if you do it now, you do it later, you're gonna do it anyhow. So you best you do it and get it over with. So yeah, I share the thing, man. Oh God. Anyhow, this is not what I come here to tell you about. I come to talk about a whole lot of things this morning. I know y'all want me to talk about 800 million. They got some banners sit down in the society, quiet. Or as we would say, easy, like they can't harm a flying thing. And the banners are almost billionaires by Guyanese standards. I'm sure y'all saw the reports. But we're going to talk about how do senior officers in the Guyana police force a public service job a public service job, right? Get to sit on $800 million in bank accounts across the country. We'll talk about that. How does it happen? What makes it possible? Is it an abnormality? We will talk about that. But what I want to talk about, I promised to talk about since last week, is, you know what? I'm going to talk about it now. We're going to talk about it later. In the same program, though. Just share the life. There's something I want to share with you, though. I recognize good work when I see good work. I recognize sense when I see sense. Good? And so I want to share this this TikTok with you from Michael Bailey. Is his name? Y'all listen up to this TikTok.
Were those people dig? Wait. Hold on. Wait. Were those people digging out a plane from an airstrip? Wait. Hold on. Wait. Were those people digging out a plane from an airstrip? Well, yes, actually, and we'll see here from the reporting by the Guyana Times on the 26th of April this year, 2024, the completion of the approximately $400 million airstrip in $400 million airstrip in Paruima, Upper Mazaruni District, Region 7, promises to initiate a new era of connectivity. You gotta say it in fancy language. A new era of connectivity and development in the Amerindian. Everybody was on the case. Newsroom. The Paruima airstrip in the Upper Mazaruni District, Region 7 has been upgraded to a concrete structure. Guys, I'm taking you back to the past. Everything requires receipts in these times. I'm taking you back to the... I mean, you can ask yourself rightfully, was that man just digging a plane out of a hole? I got to take you back to the beginning, which is just only a few months ago. So we are in July right now. This was in April, right? So in April, newsroom was reporting, it's upgraded, it's a concrete structure, safer for aircraft to land. Project was initiated by the government through the Ministry of Public Works after it was found that the strip had been in poor condition for some time, probably since Burnham built it, right? You don't know how things is reported in this country. So let's see here. We see some video or some photos here. Nice green thing. The little asphalt thing looking a little funny, but you know, people just accept any slapdash thing here, and we see a plane. Check. It was not a long road to walk until the next day when the Department of Public Information pushed this onto their Facebook page. Paruima, blah, 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 same thing, but here the headline. Excitement looms as upgrading of Paruima airstrip nearing completion. So when these things going on, these guys want you to know a lot of things going on. Good work is happening. And when you hear these eye-watering sounds of money, like, is there water? I'm like, you and hear like $400 million, you'll be like, what? And then you'll be like, at least it's saying excitement is looming. People seem very excited, and then you show you excited. Even Minister Teixeira, everybody wants to hop in on the good news, let people know, especially the indigenous people, that good work is being done for them, right? So they bring out all the children in the hot sun, as is customary. I don't know why you guys do this to the children. Let it get break, nobody. And they got him singing, Oh, Beautiful Guyana, in their native Arikuna language. And the children are seen here in the picture. And I'm just showing you that there was a lot of pomp and circumstance surrounding the launch. So it launched, and for the next 30 seconds, I want you to look at this video with me. I'm not going to say anything, so you can listen keenly, hear the words the people saying, and then I'm going to play you one other video, then I got a gaff for me. Bro is digging out the plane.
That's right. Throw some of the same thing and part of it gradually.
The tire is often not even an inch. Okay. Quarter of an inch.
Now check out this video from Guyanese pilot and fellow TikToker Emil Jahan. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly, but you guys check out this video and we can get off on the other side.
Hey, so you doing the money ain't spending right. So you shut up and stay easy.
No, you
Check
gotta
it.
say something. You gotta say
Man,
something.
everything is good, but
Do the right thing.
it's who money. It's not with your money, man.
It's your money,
Yeah. We can't shut up and stay easy.
Yeah.
And then next thing they're coming after you, right? Or we talking anything.
Now that video cut off a little early, but what he said at the end there is basically that he doesn't have any political motives here. He just was speaking for things to be right. And I mean, I think he made a pretty entertaining video, and him and the other gentleman sat and had that conversation about, it's taxpayers' money basically, and we should get something of quality. And I even weighed in on the comments, and I made some facetious remarks. I'm like, you guys need to stop back talking the government, because what was happening there in that video, let me replay that. The government waiting to come and tell y'all that this is some community development initiative aimed at building teamwork, strengthening bonds and brotherhood, and fraternal loving communities between coastlanders and hinterlanders. And this is how one Guyana will be forged through the One Airstrip initiative. Because we good like that. Because the asphalt supposed to be at least a couple inches thick. Look at like paper and biscuit. There was even this video on Nigel Hughes' page which showed from another angle that the people had to push the plane like a bus. So we could make laugh off of it and say, yes, the people had to push a plane, a Cessna, right? A high specification, high performance, a vehicle. They had to push it in the sun like if it was a motorbike that broke down on a trail, and they had to dig it out. Okay, we could make laugh at that, say the lucky boy, whatever, but let me tell you the serious part of this. That pilot you saw earlier, that man doesn't just come out and speak. Nobody just comes out in this country and speaks up because of fear of victimization, right? And I tip my hat to him. Let me tell you something, the light tone that he conveyed down there, that cool, calm demeanor, I would have been terrified. Let me tell you, because the crazy thing is you could show up to work, get into a plane, fly to a remote location where there is supposed to be an airstrip that was built to the tune of $400 million that your aircraft supposed to be able to land and take off on, and you get stick up. Where the man was coming in to land and his plane just stick and the aircraft explode or something, and then you're trying to take off. Look how difficult that was. That means it decreases the amount of available runway space. Runway length is a very important metric when you're considering landings and takeoff. This is a very dangerous situation, and we are now in July. It's now hitting the news that they've had to dig a plane out. But if we go back as far as May, we'll see that it had to be closed already. 3 weeks after it was commissioned, we saw all those fancy ads telling us how this $400 million was spent. Nowhere in those articles did it tell you they used insufficient concrete, or even look at the pictures they themselves were posting. We need to start thinking for ourselves, Guyana, and scrutinizing these public works and being honest about it. And there's nothing wrong. This is something that blows my mind every day in this country. Honesty is at a premium, right? Honesty is the worst thing for us to look at something and call a spade and say, hey, this is substandard. This could be better. This is how it could be better. That is suddenly the worst thing. It make you the enemy of the state. And that is wrong. That is not a sign of a healthy democracy, not one that is flourishing. Because for lack of scrutiny, you see in pictures like this, again, I saw this today posted in the comment section of the Lenora track and field facility. Another place taxpayers were rinsed millions of dollars to pay for, and look at the moss and the mold growing there during a competition. From the hinterland to the coast, it seems that Guyana is currently being plagued by substandard work. Substandard work that we are paying hundreds of millions and billions of dollars for. Here we are on the west bank of Demerara today, where residents decided to block the road leading to the gas to shore energy project over its deplorable conditions. Well, I just risked my life to come over this bridge, so let me take a video of it. I'm just hoping somebody in the Public Works Ministry could see this. Right now, this is Lamaha Springs. This is very close to the Joint Services Scheme, and this is what people have to drive across. Okay, just letting y'all know before somebody fall in. You know how we do things in Guyana. You can see the wood already rotten, falling in. They say people put in their own planks. I don't know what y'all are waiting for. Don't you just feel tired sometimes? This is what we're going to continue getting from Cemetery Road to Parawima until Guyanese realize and determine among themselves we deserve better than this. We need to get our act together. I saw this on Gordon Mosley's page this morning. This is some sort of World Cup international karate meet at the gymnasium, and they had to use buckets and barrels to catch water coming through the ceiling. Shame? Gosh. So this is why I wonder sometimes if y'all have no shame. I talking to y'all in charge. Oh my God, buddy. Oh my God. It's like somebody drop kick y'all shame and just fling it out the window, Chuck Norris style. Y'all go outside and look for it and put it back in. Jeez, and fix the runway.
She look mad. So
Yes. If you didn't hear it, you hear it now. And that's a fact. $400 million expended to upgrade an airstrip in the interior. And 3 weeks after it was declared open in April, in May, there were reports of it having potholes already. Shouldn't that have been reason for there to be an immediate investigation as to the quality of the runway that was built by the contractor? But obviously no investigation was done, because if an investigation was done, a quality assurance investigation was done, then they would have recognized that the airstrip was not built to any standard. Somebody says to name and shame the contractor, name and shame the government. And I will tell you why to name and shame the government. Number one, the government has oversight authority. Number two, it is the government that awards these contractors. Number three, it is the government that is responsible for assessing the capacity of the contractors to do these contracts which they are awarded. So my question here is, this contractor that was awarded this $400 million contract, you notice nobody named him, right? Up until now, I don't know the name of the contractor. I guess I might have to go and do some research since when it was declared. Maybe. Right? But the story is, has this person ever built an airport before? Huh? Has this contractor ever built an airstrip before? That is one of the questions I want us to ask. What is the experience? Just like how they granted Tipui groups that multi-billion dollars contract. And at the end of the day, it was found that the people did not even meet the minimum requirement as far as I understand. Right? Did this person ever build an airstrip? How did they determine the eligibility? Right? Of this person to build the airstrip. The builder of the airstrip is International Import and Supplies. Now, if you hear a name like International Import and Supplies, what do you suspect? I will give you a description because they are on Google here. It says, I'm looking for it. Taking long to load, man. Anyhow, the story is if you hear about international import and supplies, first thing you start thinking, these people ain't got no construction to the name. This is importation and supply. Importing what and supplying what? I understand they are importers of heavy duty machinery and suppliers of heavy duty machinery, maybe maintenance and so on of them. How much construction have they been involved in prior to getting this $400 million contract, or almost $400 million contract? Huh? What due diligence was done? Those are the questions I want us to ask. And so naming and shaming the contractor, for me, is not going to solve the problem. Holding the government accountable for failing the performance of their fiduciary duties, oversight duties, is what is important here. You can't give the government a slap on the wrist. And say they contracted substantial work. I said substantial, substandard work. Now, just across Annandale there, when they were doing these roads, there's a road just a street, obliquely opposite where I am. When it was completed, the engineer came and based on complaints from the residents, he drilled it. They have a drill that they use. As a matter of fact, an old Bostonian carpenter say if you want to know the thickness of the road, just use an auger. You know them long time auger with this drill wood with? And say use an auger and drill into the road. And you will get to see the thickness of the surface. And so that is all the engineers, I should ask, was there a supervising engineer on this project? Was there a consultant on this project? Or it was just the contractor doing what a contractor was told to do? Because big projects like those usually have supervising engineers, usually from a consultancy, clerk of works, usually from a consultancy. Even if you have the government clerk of work there, in most cases you have a consultancy providing the clerk of work duties or services. I remember when I worked as a clerk of work under Phyllis Bacchus. Can't remember what was Phyllis Bacchus's business name, but Phyllis Bacchus was a consultant for the construction of the Mongoka Hill Multipurpose Center, hall, building, whatever you want to call it. I was a clerk of work there. And the contractor was well experienced, the contractor what he was doing. But one day I woke up and I looked at the plan, and where there was supposed to be a door, this is the corridors we like to see, the aisle, the outside aisle. At the end of the outside aisle, was supposed to have a door which would lead into the machinery office, machinery room. And instead of a door, the contractor had a solid wall there. And so when I looked at the office, looked at the plan, I said, Mr. So-and-so, I think your construction is wrong. This is supposed to be a door. He said, no man, it's a wall. Look, let me check the plan. I may go down to brass tacks. Of course, it was recognized in a timely manner and it was changed to what it was supposed to rightfully be a door. No, not that contractors are always incompetent. They are humans. Sometimes they make mistakes. And that is why oversight is necessary. Right? Yes. Sometimes it's necessary. Or oversight is always necessary, as a matter of fact. Yes, Stanmore, I know she passed away. May her soul rest in peace. And she passed away, the PPP owing her a lot of money. I could tell you that story. And a particular bully who was ailing in health was responsible for the PPP owing her a lot of money. Anyhow, if I can't get you, can't get paid. Anyhow, let's talk about this. So the question is, was there a consultancy agency overlooking this $400 million project? I think it's a basic requirement. Because they bear liability, from my understanding. When the projects fail. And so let's talk about all of that. Don't blame the contractor. Let us look at the people we have employed to manage our resources. And this project falls where? Under the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, if that is the correct name. Bishop, Big Ol, Ejel. And I'm saying here this morning, Ejel has to be one of the most, the PPP is a government of incompetence. But Ejel has to be right up there when it comes to incompetence. Because all of the public infrastructure falls under Ejel. And it is falling apart all over. All of it is falling apart. Basic roads. If you were to drive in Georgetown, ever so often I should have mentioned this here. When you get to Middle Street, at the intersection of Middle Street and that would be Waterloo Street. Yeah, Waterloo Street. Waterloo Street runs north to south along Globe Yard all the way past where Republic Bank has its headquarters there, that ATM and training center and all of that there. Waterloo Street. If I get the name wrong, y'all correct me. But I think that's Waterloo Street. A country by which I tell you about some back and say. But when you get to Middle Street and Waterloo Street, and that's a stone's throw away from where the fat guy lives, State House. That's a stone's throw. They're in the same geographic plane. If you were to walk straight across, walk through the gardens, yes. If you walk through the promenade gardens, yes. That's what I'm talking about. Promenade gardens, the eastern fence of the promenade garden and Middle Street. If you walk straight through the promenade gardens and go to the western fence, you're going to see State House. But right there at that junction is a terrible mess of a road. Right? It's a terrible mess of a road. But Ejel ain't seen that. Afanali ain't seen that. The people who drive out Afanali ain't seen that. Somewhere I passed, I can't remember, the hole was big enough to fit a pallet inside. So alert road users. That is another big hole, complement of Ejel. And so, in any other country, in any decent democracy, any functioning democracy, a fiasco like that, $400 million a year strip, developing potholes after the third week, and nothing done to it, to the extent that an aircraft got stuck on landing, the minister would have been sent home. The citizens, to start with, would have held the government accountable if they chose not to send home the minister. But in this country, we seem not to want value for our money, despite the fact it is we, the citizens, who will be burdened, our next generation, would be paying that debt. We have to hold Ejel accountable. We have to hold the government of Ejel accountable. Imagine you chipping off the top of an airstrip with a piece of wood. It coming off like biscuit, like shingles. Imagine an aircraft landing and getting its wheels stuck. It says a lot of things. Number one, there was no compaction strength or compactive strength of the preparation. It was not compact enough to provide that resistance so the wheel doesn't sink. The surface was not thick enough to prevent the wheels sinking into the column foundation. A layman could tell you that. And if the minister and the minister's engineers couldn't recognize that, then all of them should go home. All of them should go home. And that is the standard we have to start holding these people to. Every single one of them should go home. I hope it happens at the next election. I sincerely hope it happens at the next election. And this is why it's important to hold them accountable. Because the citizens of Perima and everybody else is highlighting this problem of the airport, the airstrip. But look at your screen. This is what Guyana Chronicle is telling us. Perima airstrip not defective. Perima airstrip not defective. So are we saying First and foremost, we usually say a picture tells 1,000 words. So what the video still? Is AI? Was that AI generated? I doubt it. Is it a makeup? I doubt it. And persons that disrespectful to the citizens and their intelligence, citizens should really take a strong stand. Here they're telling you. Ministry of Public Works shuts down reports that the airstrip isn't operational. Further assessments on the way. Let us start with that headline. I don't know that people say the airstrip isn't operational. I know they say it's defective. It's defective because obviously it's unsafe for aircrafts to land there because we see the evidence of an aircraft landing there and getting its wheels stuck. So they're playing semantics, right? It's functional. It's working. But what it's working for? And how safe is its operation? Ministry of Public Works has poured cold water in the claims surrounding the perimeter airstrip and has disclosed that it is operational. A statement from the ministry highlighted that works on the rehabilitation of the airstrip were completed on April 14, 2024, and the project site was handed over to the ministry on April 15. Subsequently, the ministry's representatives, along with the contractor, conducted a joint site visit on June 19, 2024, following reports from aircraft operators that the runway was in distress. Are we saying that the aircraft operators were mad or are mad that they will report that the airstrip is in distress when it is not? During the inspection, several surface defects were highlighted and the contractor was given clear instructions to have these defects remedied within 1 week. The statement read, quote, "To date, these defects have since been corrected and Ministry of Public Works is currently executing plans to assess the structural integrity of the remainder of the runway structure to ensure conformity with design strength and correct any possible area of deficiency to avoid further inconvenience to aircraft operations," end quote. Further, to debunk any misleading speculations, the ministry said that the video that is currently circulating on social media platform was taken before June 19, 2024. Due to the remoteness of the location and logistical challenges in transporting equipment and materials to the site, according to the ministry, smaller sized equipment and locally available materials were most feasible for the rehabilitation of the airstrip. In other words, we use substandard material and we use substandard equipment. As it relates to the competency of the contractor, Port Kaichuma and Baramiti airstrips were both rehabilitated by the contractor in 2020 and 2021, respectively, the ministry said. Further, so somebody needs to do some investigation about Port Kaichuma and Baramiti airstrips and let's see how it is standing up. Further, the surface type of these airstrips is double bituminous surface treatment. They are in very good condition and no defects were observed to date. That is those two they're talking about. In summary, rehabilitation of perimeter airstrip is currently under the defects liability period, and the contractor is obligated by contract to remedy any and all defects arising thereafter. End quote, the ministry said. The construction of this infrastructure was awarded to international import and supplies by the government through the Ministry of Public Works at a cost of over $397 million in 2023. During the reading of the national budget in 2023, senior minister in the office of the president with responsibility for finance and public service, Dr. Ashni Singh, announced that $1.6 billion was earmarked for the rehabilitation of several airstrips, including Perimas and the one of Matches Region 1. Right? So in short, it's operational, but it had defects. And it is still in the defects and liabilities period, and we're going to fix it. And in short, it's expensive to carry the right equipment to the region to get the work done, so we use what is available. I want the Agile therefore to tell me why it is on Homestretch Avenue. A major thoroughfare is under rehabilitation, expansion, etc. But workers are seen wetting the surface with buckets, dipping water from the nearby canal with buckets, And that is what is used to wet the surface. Is it difficult to transport a submersible pump? They got them selling for $20,000 and all kind of price in our real stores around this country. If you're looking for bare minimum, is it difficult to transport a submersible pump to Homestretch Avenue, straight in the canal, and wet the surface of the road that is being constructed with an appropriate hose or pipe, whatever they want to use? That is what is happening on Homestretch Avenue. Y'all go check it for yourselves. Saturday. Yes, Saturday. I passed there, like some other days I passed there. The section of the road that motorists have to use, of course, is potholed because it's temporary, and since it's temporary, being and maintain the smoothness of it, motorists could afford to bounce in and bounce out and rock up the suspensions and so on. So, till we finish the road that we're doing at a snail's pace because we don't have the appropriate equipment. And Saturday I passed them, wetting road with bucket. Now the least one can expect from a contractor who was awarded a job with such a magnitude, is the availability of proper equipment to execute the job in a timely manner, in an efficient manner, and to ensure that taxpayers get value for their money. But no, so long as you're a friend and crony of the government, you're entitled to a big money contract, a multi-million-dollar contract, billions of dollars in contract. Whether or not you previously owned a bicycle, a tractor trailer, or heavy-duty machinery. The contractor that did the sideline dam, I understand it was subcontracted. One contractor won it and subcontracted it to one of his workers. I guess people will say be grateful for sideline dam. Yeah, get road, concrete road, and so it was in a terrible state before. But I want unbiased people come and make an assessment of the quality of that concrete strip out there. Come and make an unbiased assessment of the, what we call it, the ceiling of the concrete joints. Come and assess that. I saw people on their knees with small tubes of sealant, whatever it named. Come and see the state of it. Come and see the state of the marking or markings on the road. You're supposed to paint the edges. I saw people bending over with a paintbrush in hand. Not roller brush, a paintbrush. Is this how we award contracts to people? Is that the capacity we look for? Are we then surprised that failures happen to the extent that they happen? The government doesn't care because 3/4 of the contracts that are awarded in this country are awarded to the government members themselves through surrogates. And so who will police us if we're giving it to ourselves? Who will hold us accountable if we're giving it to ourselves? The citizens have to start doing that. The citizens have to start doing that. Because when they don't spend all the billions, hundreds of billions of our hard-earned money on these projects, in the twinkling of an eye, more money has to be found to rectify them or to redo them all together. At the end of the day, the citizens suffer from those losses. Now, who are supposed to be the eyes and ears of the citizens? And this is what I wanted to talk to you about. The fourth estate. We are told that the fourth estate is the media. Right? The media is supposed to be the eyes and ears of the citizens. The media is supposed to be alerting citizens to things that are not regular. And so when people get the information through the media that things are not regular, citizens are expected to act on that information. But one of the things we have happening in this society is that citizens are not given adequate information with adequate time. For example, we learned the other day that an imam was stopped at an at a United States airport, interviewed, his visa was revoked, and he was put on the next plane back. I have not heard any, well, I think I heard Starbuck News eventually mentioning who the imam was. But it took quite a while for the public to know who the imam was or is. We finally got information who the imam was or is. My information tells me that the imam is allegedly closely related to, not necessarily blood relation, closely related to the Mohammeds. Apparently because of their relationship with that particular masjid. And so when that kind of information is provided to the listening, viewing public, then people can understand, hey, these sanctions are not only affecting the Mohammeds, they're also affecting people who are allegedly associated with the Mohammeds. Because usually you hear about an imam is a religious leader, and so you ask yourself, what could a religious leader do to be so harshly rejected by the people, by the United States authorities? And if the media does its investigation and presents the information, then you get to understand how wide-reaching these sanctions are. And then you can start to, as we say, put two and two together and start asking yourselves other questions. For example, is it possible that an imam may function as a fence for people who are made unbankable? Is it possible that this person could be used as a mule or a courier for persons who are on a no-fly list? These are things that will, I will say, pop up in the minds of any thinking person, provided they provided the information. Let's hop over to the Guyana Police Force. We learned weeks ago of senior officer BUTONIAN being asking to go and leave to facilitate an investigation into financial impropriety at the Guyana Police Force, Credit Union, etc. We subsequently heard Ben, the minister responsible for the Guyana Police Force, berating the Guyana Police Force for perceived misconduct and promising an investigation. Immediately after the minister's address to the senior officers of the Guyana Police Force, we saw articles in a particular section of the media attacking the minister. You ain't got no training in law enforcement, you ain't got no training in investigation. And these things that you're saying, you don't have a leg to stand on, and you're compromising functions of the police, etc., etc. Those things started coming from a particular section of the media. A section of the media where every time the police or some officers of the police, leading officers of the Guyana Police Force, come under attack or get skin up, let me call it that, that particular section of the media comes out batting for them, cussing out anybody who dares to highlight what's happening over the Guyana Police Force under certain leaders. They say, who pays the piper calls the tune? And so the question was being asked all the time, who paying this media operative? Why is this media operative always batting for these particular people in the Guyana Police Force? Well, information that I've been able to gather suggests that when the investigation into the Guyana Police Force and impropriety, financial and other improprieties in the Guyana Police Force gets launched, and if it is done by unbiased people, and it is done with integrity, the representative of that section of the media is going to get skin up, as we like to say. That person, I guess, will now have to defend his or herself, because it is alleged that that person has for several years been doing contracts, as we would say, small contracts, for the Guyana Police Force, and facilitating quote-unquote runnings through those contracts. For example, it is alleged that in many contracts which that person has signed off on as the contractor, got paid for them, but it is the police's construction department, if that's what they call it, that had to do the work. on their regular pay. In other instances, it is alleged that that person has signed those contracts, collected monies for those contracts, and those jobs were done by bigger contractors who had bigger contracts to execute and were told that they will only get those contracts if they agree to do the smaller ones as a favor. Now, if you have people in the fourth estate, no doubt there are people in the fourth estate who compromise themselves like that, then obviously they cannot report the news unbiased. They cannot and will not do investigative reporting so that citizens are quite aware of what is happening. And so, as we like to say, who watching the watchman? Because if the fourth estate's duty, if it's expected that the fourth estate will exercise quote unquote oversight over state operatives and agencies, but the fourth estate itself becomes corrupted, how then does the society hold or get information to hold the state operatives accountable? Let me tell you about some of those compromises. You saw the last time, not so long ago, the fat guy cussing out a young reporter and telling me, if you're 28 and you ain't get a house, you ain't get your own house yet, you ain't get land yet, you're making bad decisions, bad choices. It is because that same fat guy has become accustomed to operatives of the media kowtowing, begging. Mr. President, I get an application in there for land since I was a boy. Can you assist me? Yeah, tomorrow morning, go to the ministry. Someone will take care of you. Mr. President, I want to buy a car to aid in my getting around to do news gathering and so on. Can you assist with the duty-free concert? Yes. Go to the Ministry of Finance. Someone will take care of you. And by requesting and being granted, or by being offered and accepting these little favors, many, I dare say many, I say a whole lot of our media operatives have been compromised. And so every time they go to report the news, they have to stop and think, can I say this about Ali? Despite the fact that I know it is true, can I say this? Taking into consideration that he assisted me to get a house lot, taking into consideration that he assisted me with duty-free concession, taking into consideration he stopped the police from charging me. Can I? Should I? And so I think the eyes of citizens have to now be on a lot of the people who are, in my mind, masquerading as journalists in this country, masquerading as presenting the news in this country. The fourth estate has been compromised. And it might very well take social media, influencers, as they like to say, to get you the real news and to expose to you when you're being fed a part of the story, another whole story. as Paul so like to say, watch this space. And you're going to find out by watching this space as the investigations in the Ghanaian police force gets underway. How many media operatives will be caught in the loop of corruption and corrupt practices? As they say, how many of them are in bed? With those who are currently being investigated. Most recent breaking news, as y'all like to say, is two very senior officers of the Ghana Police Force are allegedly involved or have allegedly been involved in the laundering of 800 million, or approximately more than, as a matter of fact, $800 million through the quartermaster stores, the Ghana Police Force, allowances for ranks stationed in the interior, and the Credit Union and Consumers Co-op Society. According to Travis Chase, investigators know that even though the Police Consumer Cooperative Cooperative Society provides food and other items to members of the force on credit, that arrangement was quote-unquote ordered stop. In fact, the relative of a senior officer is now the main supplier of the Police Consumer Cooperative Society. Did I mention to you before that I have documents showing that an acting deputy or someone performing the duties of a deputy commissioner spouse has a registered business which supplies grocery and other things to the Ghana Police Force on contracts that that particular individual has to sign off on. And so that is not considered a conflict of interest. Man signing home on voucher. Let me put it down to that. Then I don't know what is. So in fact, the relative of a senior officer is now the main supplier of the Police Consumer Co-op Society. In one instance, over $100 million in cash was found concealed in black plastic bags in one of the officers' office. That officer reportedly told investigators that it's hard-earned money. Information also surfaced that the two senior officers had planned to build a multi-million-dollar supermarket and hotel in Region 9. That plan is still reportedly moving ahead. Now, when you look at the mafia movies and you read about people like Pablo Escobar and the rest of them, are there some parallels there? Money stashed in plastic bag in an office. Mendez or Menez, whatever the U.S. senator's name, was just being convicted on all counts of corruption and fraud and so on and so forth. They said he had money stashed in suit pockets and shoes and all kinds of places. When you have senior members of your Ghana Police Force, law enforcement agency, and you can walk into the office and find money stashed in black plastic bag, money to the tune of $100,000, $100 million. Then the question arises, are these law enforcement officers or are these members of a cartel? Are they enforcing the law or are they breaking the laws? And then the question comes, who has supervisory and oversight authority of these people? And how can this be allowed to happen under the eyes, or the Jamaicans say under the nose, of the people who have oversight authority. And so the question is, again, what has Brock Ben been doing? Has he been so blind not to recognize that instead of law enforcers, you have some law breakers sitting at the helm of the Guyana police force? How can a man acquire hard-earned money to the tune of $100 million on a public service salary? And the money is not in the bank, but in his office in black plastic bags. Is that how it was dropped off? You ever hear about the bagman? Is that how the bagman bought it? We know the police or operatives, many operatives within the Guyana police force are corrupt. But to just label them as corrupt and blame them is doing ourselves a disservice. Who are the people who are facilitating? Who are the aiders and abettors of these corrupt practices? I dare argue. I dare argue. Ultimately, it is the government of Ghana. Situation is compounded because there are lots of media operatives who are caught in this same web of corruption and compromises. As they say, how are we going to drain the lake? For me, we have to start by getting rid of the PPP because they create the environment for such things to happen and to continue to happen. What will you do about it? You are informed. You have been explained to. What will you do about it as citizens? When are we going to get a massive anti-corruption march by the Gen Zs of this country? When the young people of this country will be able to, convinced by the elders that is the right thing to do, to take to the streets and say we will shut down this government because they are inimical to our growth and development, like the Gen Zs of Kenya went. The lines are open. 622-5933 is the number to call. Let me remind you, because I'm still pissed, strong word, about what happened on Friday. I'm giving you an opportunity to express yourselves. I'm giving you an opportunity to speak to your government. Don't take it for granted, number one. And don't use it to put this program, nor myself, at risk. Please be responsible. Please. Y'all big, but y'all ain't stupid. I've had a lot of time to reflect. I remember last week Wanda calling and saying Dr. Hines should host a call-in segment and so on. And I've asked myself several times when I hear that request, why y'all think Dr. Hines will host the call-in segment? Y'all think Dr. Hines want to find himself in the kind of problems that I find myself in? When people are irresponsible in their utterances? I am sure when y'all say that Dr. Hines must just laugh and say, yeah, I tried it. I ain't kidaki. You have this one platform that you get the opportunity to express yourself on. Show some respect. The lines are open. 622-5933 is the number to call.
And to the last comment where you make, you're totally right. Now I would call in and I realize you got certain things that you cannot say on the air with all. Guyana is supposed to be a country with freedom of speech. And we must always be mindful of putting you into problem because only you alone we can air certain things with. If you feel that you got something that you want to share with might cause a problem, find where you live in or see some other means. And it don't make sense to call you, take your phone and say, oh, I could WhatsApp you that can't send this in. Because your phone, once they know that you're making contributions and programs, you're talking about the ills of this regime, they will have a way of getting to your phone and keeping close surveillance on your phone. So whatever you say, it isn't private. You gotta go and talk to people in the ears and then that does be private. Anyway, the points that you bring out, they are so relevant. And when it comes to that airstrip, the airstrip could have caused the death of so many persons, innocent people. And as I look in this time in Guyana, I don't know what's the why Africans and Amerindians are being treated the way we are being treated by this installed regime. Now, when you gotta get people who know to do the work. You cannot have people, incompetent people, who knows about nothing, but because they're the 3F's, friends, favorite, and family, you give them jobs that they cannot do. Because even unto the engineer doesn't know anything. So it's a wheel in a wheel. And people have got to start trying the best to put these things out and let meet outside. And let outside people see what is going on. Because sometimes a team of they encouraging tourism. Say a team of tourists. Look when they had the facts finding mission to come. They had wanted to see Kaichur and other places. And when they got to Kaichur, then they realized that the plane had a defect and they could not have landed. Now the outer world must look at these atrocities or inefficiencies in Guyana and study if they will risk their lives to come here and lose their life. Now coming back to the airstrip, can we say that was the assistance with the causing the life of 5 Guyana military men? All these things now we got to take into consideration of what is going on. Last Kadaki, this is the rainy season. And as it goes, Guyana is sinking. Why? All the waterways that the Dutch built, designed to build, to drain the delta, because the Guyanas are the delta from the Amazon, the mighty Amazon delta. That is all the stuff will come from the Amazon. Build up. So they had ways of draining these lands. And now all these drainage canals, all your little trenches, your 4 foot in front of your yard, they are now being blocked. And they're putting in a 1 foot diameter plastic pipe. So, and cover it off. So by the time they throw about 20 food bags, couple Pampers, couple bottle, the place blocked and your entire place keep blocked up all the time. Soon as the rain drizzle, the water level down there in the land, the water coming up now and sinking your place. And this is going to go on. Lastly, I know that at least in my village, you used to build your houses 8 feet from the big trench in front of your yard and 6 feet to your interlock drain. You got to build within that. Now I notice buildings, a building 3-story on the public road that a truck, when the truck tried to deposit building material down to them big 50-ton truck, the traffic on both sides got to stop because it got to fit in the angle. This truck come back in the yard. Now with these types of building that people are building skyscrapers, I think it's going to cause a big effect because when it isn't being built properly, next thing you know, that they're on the road. So I don't know what is going on in Guyana. Buildings outside, you've been outside the other day, they got a certain amount of depth and height to accommodate people. Now you're going to say, oh, I built in a 3-story up, and between one floor is like 8 feet. Where is the maths in that? So there is what's going on now, and all the businesses now got share AC. Everybody got AC. So I ain't gonna know what gonna happen with the boat. We can't even generate a one transformer, let alone to cool all them AC. That is another way of destroying the country and destroying people health. Bye-bye.
Thank you. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. Somebody is asking where Bishop Ejel got engineering degree from. You don't have to have an engineering degree to be a minister or anything. You don't have to, quite frankly, you don't have, it will help you if you have knowledge of the sector that you're asked to have oversight of. But you don't necessarily have to have knowledge of the sector. You just have to be willing to allow the professionals to do their jobs. And the problem comes in this society where politicians believe that they could do everybody's job. And nobody is whistleblowing, nobody is objecting. Right? So you take a square peg and a round hole like prayer and put her at the Ministry of Education. Despite the fact that they say she has limited education and she wants to do all of the educator's job. Micromanaging, that is what you call it. And when you're not knowledgeable and you're micromanaging, obviously you're going to create problems. But you have to micromanage because that's how you get to steal. And that's how you get to reward your friends and cronies. Lots of the people who are functioning in senior positions at the Ministry of Education, for example, right now, are not there because of their experience and qualification. They're there because they're friends and families of the minister and others in government.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and good morning to all of the viewers. Brother, that guy beat me this morning that explained that situation there with that plane on that airstrip. Yesterday when I saw that on the news, on Facebook, when they posted up, I was shocked. I was totally shocked. I said, this cannot be Isle Rich, Guyana. But it was Isle Rich, Guyana. Do you remember a few days ago, last week, when a guy told you that write the message that you were reading, saying to you that when the PNC in government, the country goes into bankruptcy and all kind of stuff, he was explaining to you and you had to defend it. Now, what I think that gentleman that write that message there that you had to read, I hope he's listening this morning, because I can tell you this, the country is in a state of no return with this PPP government in power. And I can tell you this, to all the black ministers that they have in the PPP, I can tell the viewers this, and I can tell them, I hope they're listening this morning too. They're all all of them are spineless and deplorable. All of the black people that is in the PPP government, they're being tied under witchcraft and they cannot defend themselves. You know, it hurt me to see that the president of Guyana is sending aid to Barbados and St. Vincent. When a few weeks ago, like a month ago or so, we had a massive disaster in Region 10 in Linden, and those people were left struggling on their own, and nobody show up. The same situation again. Brand new roads was built, and it washed away with 2 hours or 3 hours of rain. Wash it away. Now, come on. You see the problem that we have in Guyana? We have the two main races in Guyana are the black and the Indians. But when it comes to the Indians, they're suffering like a dog. Much of them don't have no education. But when it comes to election time, they would still go and put their vote to the PPP cup. And that's where the PPP exploit them. So we are in a crisis. As I was listening to the PNC leader saying the country's in a massive crisis. And I can tell you this, help will not come until we vote these people out. That's the only help will come. You understand what I'm saying? There is no other help to come for these people. And they don't understand anything else but to get them out of here.
Karaki, blessings and good morning to you and your listeners. I understand that the PPP they're trying to destabilize the black people emancipation celebration. That is to share the depths and the distant these installed PPP regime will go to stay into governance. But there is a man above called God. He watching, he's seen, and he knows everything. And Barrett, Jack Dale know that his back is against the wall and there is no other way out but to try to destabilize the black people. And he talking about Mr. Nigel Hughes, about conflict of interest. But what people have a saying, a thief don't like to see a thief with a bag. A thief don't like to see a next man with a bag. Have a good one.
Thank you for your voice note. It's now 5 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You tune to the Guyanese morning time. I am your host, Kiraki Amsterdam.
Good morning, Kiraki. We did an airstrip in Mamadai in 2003. The clerk of work there was a man named Mr. Cole. We had to extend the airstrip and cap it using bitumen or asphalt. The part that we extend, we did 1 layer of asphalt. On the old airstrip, we did 2 layers. And we did such a good job that the plane that brought in reps from the World Bank, aviation, and the ministry, the plane that brought them in landed on the same airstrip that we constructed. So this airstrip that cost $400 million is beyond me, that how one plane could touch down and destroy it. And that was the last contract we had to build the airstrip. We had contracts after to maintain airstrip. The last airstrip that I can remember maintaining with my father's Bamichi airstrip.
Thank you for that voice note. I'm not sure.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. I want to speak about cost of living. Well, I can tell you as Guyanese, we are better off dead than being alive. 1 pound of chicken is $540. The cheapest you're gonna get is $500 per pound. 1 bag of brown rice is $9,000. Some shop have it 9,500. Some have it 8,700. Sugar is 200, 220, 260 a pound, and you don't even get in. And nobody's saying anything. Flour, raise, and you're not getting it. If you go to the shop, they're rationing you. If you can't get only 3-pack, 4-pack, 5-pack per person, is everything in the shop gone sky high and nobody ain't saying nothing. Nobody. So you're talking about school clothes and children home. You won't get their money. Everything raised in the shop. Then you still got to provide their meals home. You got to buy their school clothes and prepare them back for school. Where are you going to get this money from when you doesn't have a raise of salary? The chicken feed was 7,000, gone to 7,200, 7,300. So tell me, the small minors, them, how you gonna exit? Sometimes you collect the chicken them, 7, 8 dead, 10, 20 dead. Sometimes out of 150 dead. Where are we going? Nobody is helping us. Nobody is saying anything. What really going on in the country? Every single thing raised in the shop. Where are we going?
Thank you for that voice note. I saw somebody saying, Gary Dalton, this program needs more time this morning. Gary Dalton, yeah, just take me to some places I don't like to go. Did you share the program this morning, Gary? Gary, what has you contributed to the Cash App or the Zelle? Gary, you mean 3 hours of programming is not enough? Who else you want? Blood? Well, do come on, y'all must be reasonable, man. Oh. Yes, I think those are all the voice notes. It's a minute to 9 o'clock. So it's right on time. Right on time. That's where I will have to take my leave of you. Let me tell you that Thursday night is karaoke at Club Twilight. Come on now. Let me remind you also that on the 28th, that's next Sunday, we're going to have the CAM's anniversary lunch and line. Come out and enjoy yourself. You ain't gonna get money. You could come, bro. Good. Come out and have a good time. We have a one-man band inside the house. We're starting at about 12 o'clock. It's after lunch and line. So come down. Let's rub shoulders, take a tops together, eat and drink and gaff and so on and so forth. Like I said, all the eatables are free. You can support the bar, alcoholic beverages if you want, non-alcoholic beverages, but you can support the bar, and you can also make a contribution if you care to, if you can afford to. But not having the capacity to make a contribution or support the bar is not going to stop you from eating or having a good time. So come down. Good. On the 31st of July, the 1st of August movement will host its annual Black is Beautiful cultural evening on the Buxton line top. So come on down and support that. Usually we do the libation on the afternoon of the 31st. Up until now, that's the plan, but there might be a slight adjustment, so I don't want to tell you too much about that. But definitely on the 31st, you have the cultural evening. And on the 1st of August, right here at Club Twilight, you're going to have the Elders Soiree. That is where the elders get the opportunity to come out, eat and drink and be merry, and be entertained by Super Cat one-man band. There's no cover charge to that. Good. So again, bring out your elders on the first, right here at Club Twilight. Let them have a good time. Elders soiree, we call it. Good. As Dr. Hines said when we were having a meeting, while we saying elders, you ain't got to be elderly, but we prefer to see the elders, elderly, and so on. They should get preference. But according to if you're 40 and older, you're elder. So let's see. Just come out, enjoy. You're going to have lots of conky and pone, conky, pone, marby, ginger beer, cocoa rice, metem, that kind of stuff. The real African Guyanese kind of stuff. Come down and enjoy yourself. Get a taste of everything if you could, and have a blast on the first. Good. So I'll see you tomorrow for another program of Guyanese Morning Time. If you can, be good, be safe. Love you. Remember to support the thing. The Cash App information there, the Zelle information there. See you around. Have a good one. Bye bye.